I was just about to record and I got a nosebleed and I thought I'd show you. Okay, wow. I tried to look nice for you and I got a nosebleed and then my computer shut down. I live in a very arid climate right now and that doesn't even really matter. Oh, hang on. Because, oh my God. So I got a nosebleed and everything like moved around. Okay. Okay. Whatever. Arid climate doesn't matter. I have natally, everything's changing color. I have Mercury retrograde with Uranus in Scorpio. So that's a lot of surprise. I have a lot of good surprise nosebleed stories. And oh my God. The technical difficulties are okay. I have a lot of good surprise nosebleed stories and one fake nosebleed story where for Halloween in fashion school in the early 2000s, my costume it was my normal clothes. And then I put like a drop of fake blood under my nose. And then I just came to school like normal and didn't say anything. And then my roommate who didn't like me for good reason, I was like a bit heavy-handed. But she was also kind of annoying to me and to others. God bless her. She's doing much better than me now, so I think I was the asshole. Anyway, a rumor was started apparently, I don't know if it was by her or by someone else, that I was on cocaine. My costume was I was on cocaine. I thought that was cool. It was the early 2000s. It's not cool. And I got that idea from earlier, I think even like oh my God. Even earlier than that. I found this magazine. It was before I lived in Los Angeles. I was visiting and this is when magazine stands. Should I even tell this? It's from a long time ago. Anyway, I saw this magazine and it was like a girl, like it was like a pretty model. You could tell like from here up, smiling, smiles. And I lifted it up and she was smiling beautifully and she had like this nosebleed and it was like a commentary on that. And I thought that was so striking. And so that was my Halloween costume was just like, I'm normal, but I have a nosebleed and it was fake. But everybody thought it was real and I just didn't notice and they didn't tell me because my 11th house is ruled by the same planet as my 12th house. That's the story I tell myself now. Not because I abdicate responsibility in any way ever. So, how was your Monday? This keeps happening. There's no excuse. The moon is mostly in Aquarius on Monday. And this hairdo, me trying to have a hairdo. This week is the vector of a lot of the changes that will happen later. Maybe it's not a week of giant change for you, but things that happen this week have a lot to do with change that is coming. Oh my God. So I had this like beautiful light and it's not there now. So I just charged this too. Okay. So whatever it is that you're working on in the Aries part of your life, whatever it is hard and you can do it. And it's going to get harder, but you can do it. There's this type of working out that I really like, which like exercise is a very small part of like the overall movement you should be getting. And if you're interested in that, you should look at the work of Katie Bowman specifically, but also look at the work of Mary Bond. But Katie Bowman specifically talks about how movement is a missing form of nutrition, and I'm really going on a tangent. Movement is a missing form of nutrition. I'm really frazzled because when you see blood, like I don't have a problem with blood. I'm really all over the place. I don't have a problem with the sight of blood. Some people do, but I don't. But there's still something in my programming that's like when I see blood, if it's coming from me, that's supposed to be bad. So I'm a little frazzled, and I also feel a little bit spiritually cleansed because like maybe some demons came out with that blood, and now those demons are in the trash, no longer in my body. What was I even saying? I was talking about 40 billion things. A type of movement. Anyway, so exercise is like a factory farm animal paradigm. And so is brushing your teeth. But I could do a separate video about that. Add it to my list of separate videos that hopefully I'll make in the future. There's a type of, okay, back to this week. There's a type of working out that I enjoy when I do a formal workout, which is like a few times a week. Her name is Tracy Anderson. She's very nerdy. You would think on the surface that it's very like, if you saw the movie Legally Blonde, Brooke Wyndham, you would think maybe it's like a Brooke Wyndham style. And it kind of is. Like, she kind of comes from that paradigm. She's 50 years old. She doesn't look 50. She looks like Brooke Wyndham in Legally Blonde. But she's very nerdy. And she knows everything about how the muscles work and how to build muscles without atrophying other muscles. And so that's why I know too much about the body. So I can't work out with anyone because I know more than them at this point, but I don't know more than her. And so that's why I pay her to tell me what to do with my body, except she doesn't tell me. This sounds like an endorsement now, and I'm not affiliated. I wish. As if, like, in my dreams, I were sponsored by the likes of her. But I'm not. I'm just fangirling. Anyway, but I have a point because there's a lot of stuff happening in Aries right now. And I think also if you look at her date of birth, I believe she has Venus in Aries, which is cute. So she also doesn't talk. Like, she doesn't talk to you when you work out because she did studies and learned that all these neurons fire up infinitely more when nobody is talking to you when you work out, because it needs to be your time and you need to be able to like emotionally process things for yourself and have an emotional connection to you moving your body. This is why like you go to gyms and you go to like fitness classes and they're blabbing at you, telling you what to do, and like that can be luxurious to some extent, but also it's interfering with your bodily movement having the greatest effects on you as it can. And my background is I've done 3 formal yoga trainings. I still need to finish my homework for the last one I did this past fall. So that's annoying. I'm very 8th housey, so the 8th house is unfinished business, a part of it. And also I read somewhere that the 8th house rules piles, that's very funny, and I could tell you that is very appropriate. And I also studied with a circus contortionist who trained circus people and exotic dancers in flexibility, taking a very scientific approach, but also blending it with the Mongolian tradition of circus contortion. And I worked very closely with Mary Bond, helping her publish a book, which don't hire me to do any of that stuff. I can only do that stuff for myself, but what a gift to have worked so closely with her. She's a genius, and you should seek her work. if you want to know stuff about your body. And if you don't, if you just want to be 100% mental, then you're in the right place. What I was getting at talking about Tracy Anderson is she has said, because she does these complicated movements and you just mirror her. She doesn't tell you what to do. She has like breakdowns if you want to know more about where she's coming from, because it does help to like, you can like move your leg. I know this is my arm, pretend it's my leg. You like move your leg like this, but telling you like, where to engage. That's helpful. That's why people talk to you when you're working out mostly. But she doesn't do that. So if you want to learn that, like where she's coming from, you can watch her breakdowns, but mostly her workouts are just like there's music and you watch her and you do what she's doing. And sometimes it seems really complicated and you're like, why do I have to go over here and do this little movement before I do this? It's just like, it seems unnecessarily complicated and annoying. But and obviously like if you're doing anything online for people, the random public watching, people are going to be like, this is hard, or I have a problem with this, or especially if what you're doing is good. Like I get a lot of negative incendiary comments on my beauty videos that I post that are reposted from my old Beauty Geese channel until I start making more. Because what I'm saying is worth something. So she gets a lot of people saying, I can't do this. This is dumb. It's too hard. And I'm mocking them with my tone of voice, and that's not fair because there's plenty in my life that I can't do or I think I can't do and it's too hard. The worst problems in my life that have never been fixed because I have a story about like, I can't do it, it's too hard. And I'm still working on it. I'm not good. I'm not good at those things yet. And coincidentally, they correspond with the Aries part of my life. And there's a lot of things happening. And this is the point I'm making, is that you can do it. This is something that she says. She's like, you can do it. I know that it's difficult. I don't remember what she said, but for the most part, what I remember her saying, because she does these talks, like you do a workout and then she just like talks to you for 30 minutes or something, or 10 minutes. She gives you a combination of like a pep talk and telling you how your body works and other stuff. But anyway, her refrain is, you can do it. So if you're like, I can't do it, it's too hard, you can do it. And that's kind of what's been going on in the Aries. Like a lot of stuff is going on in Aries. So Mars rules Aries. And this expression of Mars, the Aries expression of Mars, as opposed to the, any other zodiacal expression of Mars, but Mars rules Aries and Mars rules Scorpio. So the main things, and is exalted in Capricorn. The Aries version of Mars as opposed to the Scorpio version of Mars or the Capricorn version of Mars, is that the Aries expression of Mars is overt. It's visible. Fire signs are visible. You can't hide fire. Most things you can hide in the dark. Fire is more visible in the dark. So whatever is going on in the Aries part of your chart, you can do it. It's probably been a long time coming. We're having an outer planet transit into Aries this week. And it's me trying not to edit my videos. And I'm all alone. I'm a Libra. I need someone to talk to if I'm going to keep talking. But if I don't have anybody to talk to, then I just lose my train of thought and I go blank. That's not just like, if I had maybe Mercury in a better condition, if I had the swiftness, I might not be subject to these like long pauses. What was I saying? Sorry, my train of thought just started running because I'm like rambling about nosebleeds and I'm wearing a giant bow in my hair and I want you to take astrology seriously. And I want to be admitted into the club of like the nerdiest academic astrologers. And I probably never will be because I'm on YouTube. I'm just like, I'm doing the airing of the grievances. It's not like, I'm not saying that because like, oh, it's just because I do YouTube. It's because I want to be a showman, and academia doesn't like that. It lessens your, I feel, this is all coming from me. This is my shit. This is what I believe. And so I'm allowing it to like, I'm allowing it to interfere with what I want for myself and my work, and what I want to be known for is what I believe. What I believe is being a showman lessons. I'm just realizing, you're watching me live, understand that this is something that I believe. I'm putting it as a judgment on every single one of my colleagues. I don't even feel, oh my God. Okay, I'm not going to take this any further. I think you get my point. This is a very stream of consciousness, as opposed to my others, which are completely planned out and scripted. The point about the Aries stuff in your life is you can do it. And Aries is about conflict and getting through a thing, getting the work done that God left for you to do yourself. Mars is a malefic. A benefic, God does the work for you. It is given unto you. It's a good thing. It's help and benefits and good things that arrive. A malefic gives you trouble. And with Mars, that's the place where you have to roll up your sleeves and do it yourself. God's not going to do it for you. God actually left it. What I was saying is like, I'm wearing this bow in my hair. I'm like, what? I want to be taken seriously, but I'm going to dress like, Matilda. God left the work for you to do in the Aries and Scorpio, basically the malefic parts of your chart. And the sign of Aries is going to get more malefic. So right now, it's like Neptune is moving into Aries this week. So a part of it is like you might feel touched by, or just inspired in general. Maybe you just might feel better all around. You might be touched by like the romantic parts of Aries. And we'll get a little while of that. And then shit will really start to go down. So like things might feel like flaming rose on fire, tinted glasses for all of April and much of May. And then like a challenge that is so much larger than the challenges you have been having, maybe, depending on your chart, will arrive. Or it could be, because sometimes I'm talking about Saturn entering Aries near the end of May. It could be just some sort of approval or check mark that has been a long time coming, that has to do with you being true to yourself amidst confrontation, or you being willing to endure confrontation or put up with it. Because Aries really isn't about endurance, but it's going to be. So this week, there are major changing of the guard things happening. And I use the excuse of having family in town to have, I didn't need to do this. I thought that I like needed to. I'm like, I'm going to have to. And it really wouldn't have been the end of the world if I didn't, but like I had family in town and I quit sugar for Venus retrograde. I don't even want sugar, but there's just something about like, I want to enjoy a meal with my family and not be like, oh, I'm not getting dessert. I just want to share everything with everyone because food, like sharing food is really important in my life. And it's important in my family. So I had like a rumspringa of Venus retrograde, non-sugar having. And I also, God brought me caffeine because I quit caffeine too. So I've had like a vacation, and this is my last bit of caffeine again until Venus stations direct. But also I found caffeine really doesn't do much for me in the long term. How's your Monday? So anyway, a lot of stuff happening in Aries, and we have a solar eclipse. And Monday we have Mercury conjoining the sun, making its interior conjunction with the sun. So we're halfway through. We got halfway through the Venus retrograde at the end of last week, a couple of days ago, and now we're halfway through the Mercury retrograde. So did you notice last week was kind of chaotic? Mine was chaotic in a good way, and I had to fight. There are some things I had to fight, but it was mostly just like with myself, which is funny because I had like some things due all at once with a family visit, and I had to regress back to some old patterns of running myself into the ground to do them. So in a way it felt like I was going backwards, but that is a description of my chaos. How was your chaos? So on Monday, the moon is in Aquarius. Like when you wake up, if you're on the west coast in North America, which is the center of the world. And so the moon is in Aquarius, aspecting planets in Aries. The moon aspects Venus, the moon aspects Mercury, and the moon conjoins Pluto in Aquarius. And moon Venus in Aquarius, or moon in Aquarius, aspecting Venus in Aries. I mentioned this before with Venus aspecting Pluto, Venus in Aries aspecting Pluto in Aquarius. It reminds me of the movie Her, starring Joaquin Phoenix. I was talking about the moon in Libra. Whatever. Anyway, Venus rules Libra, and Venus is in Aries right now. So there's also a hint of that. If the moon in Sagittarius aspecting Pluto in Aquarius is our Neuralink aspect, where we merge with our tools, Venus aspecting Pluto in Aquarius, especially from Aries, which is this place of war and overt conflict. It's also this place of like expressing, improving the self. And we'll do that more and more through the metaverse. Aries is the metaverse. It's where all of our identities converge. It's not so much like zooming out and having like seeing everybody in the oasis, like that movie Ready Player One, another movie I like very much. It's more about your personal experience, developing and expressing, improving your identity in the metaverse. And there are some very literal things going on there with like, I know Saturn in Pisces has had a lot to do with like border stuff, but there is kind of like, and will be a like show your papers. Literally you have to prove your identity. And when the power structures make it inordinately difficult to acquire that proof. I'm going through my own sort of admin hell right now with a bureaucracy and how difficult they make it if you slip underneath, if you don't keep everything on the up and up. This is like Saturn and Aries coming. You'll be in this is some bad language is coming up, so turn it down if you're listening to me with your children. which I hope you aren't, with small children. Hopefully, if you're listening with your children, you're listening with older children who have had a talk about bad language and how that doesn't, if you look up to someone, you don't have to talk like them. John Oliver from Welcome Last Week Tonight, which I used to watch a long time ago, called this place where you've fallen into a place of where you require bureaucratic remediation, and it's really, really difficult to get out. They make it more difficult, like the less equipped you are to get out of it, the more difficult they make it. He calls it the fuck barrel. And I think what I have in my mind is like, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. Anyway, I was talking about how Aries, the sign of Aries, and Saturn, Neptune in Aries is going to be the more mandatory metaverse. And these themes and how they're going to, the Aries in your chart, like whatever house that is, corresponds with like what the metaverse mostly probably is for you. Or like, where the problems in your life. We have a Malefic moving into Aries. It's ruled by a Malefic. So it's a pain in the butt. Where does that pain, it's not in your butt. It's a pain in your family or with your money or in your professional life. So Monday swirls around those themes. And these themes Aries themes have a lot to do with the near future. And by near future, I mean like this week. And I mean also like the next 3 years in terms of Saturn trouble, admin hell, and the next 13 years in terms of romanticizing glory, romanticizing crime, having those rose on fire tinted glasses. And romanticizing ourselves and our army, because we'll all have an army of agents. Monday night, by the way, should feel pretty good, because most of the night, like from like 5 p.m. Pacific, or before that, 4:30 p.m. Pacific, through the night, it's just the moon applying to Jupiter. And then when you wake up on Tuesday, the moon Jupiter thing it doesn't go exact until like, if you're on the east coast of North America, until, the afternoon. I need to guzzle more caffeine. Which coffee is very drying, so that probably has something to do with the nosebleed. So we got through Monday. Tuesday, after the moon Jupiter trine goes exact, Mercury sextiles Pluto. So it's just more of this like Aries, Aquarius stuff. And if Aries is the metaverse right now, Aquarius is how, that's more like zooming out. If you zoom out on both the Aries sector and the Aquarius sector, that's how you're seeing everybody in the metaverse. And something with the moon trining Jupiter in Gemini, with all this stuff happening in Aries, the moon in Aquarius just coming off of Pluto, I was made aware of this concept last year, which I sound naive if you're a crypto person or a blockchain person, which I absolutely am, but not in the way that you think, because crypto is not money. Crypto is signals intelligence. Or the other way around, like everything is money now. Everything. Your identity is money. It's like, this is an old movie, Swingers, starring Mr. Vincent Vaughn. This is such a like a dusty reference, but you're so money, you don't even know it. So Tuesday is like decentralized physical infrastructure networks. Adding Pluto in Aquarius to this Aries stuff is like our metaverse becomes an infrastructure, and our infrastructures, our physical infrastructures, become metaverses. And I keep saying that Code Academy defines metaverse as a collection of blockchain things put together, assembled for the purpose of achieving a goal. Metaverse from nerds who develop the digital world that we live in and will continue to live in as long as like everything doesn't fall apart, which is a possibility. I mean, things are going to fall apart massively. It's going to affect it's not going to be like COVID where it affects everybody the same. It's going to affect everybody super differently. Some people are going to live in the metaverse forever, and some people are going to be exiled to the desert and never touch the metaverse, I think. I lost my train of thought. But Tuesday. DPIN, decentralized physical infrastructure networks. And also end of day Tuesday, like Tuesday night. Also the Mercury-Pluto aspect. Mercury is retrograde and has just completed their conjunction with the sun. So something is like something around decentralized physical infrastructure networks or something metaphorical around that is being revisited. Maybe it's something that we brushed off previously. Now maybe we're beginning or something, some sort of mistake or blunder or caper happens where we're forced to revisit something in a more serious way. And we will also revisit it again in the very near future when Mercury stations direct. But at night, the moon in Aquarius squares Uranus in Taurus. So this is like the moon is your body trying to get what it needs. The moon gets a taste of itself in Taurus with Uranus. Uranus is naturally somewhat Aquarius flavored. It is not the ruler of Aquarius. That's not how astrology does not work that way. Good night. That's a Futurama reference. So something surprising or upsetting or a little buzz, something gives you the fizz, at the very least, Tuesday night. And on Wednesday, all of that happens. The moon is void in the morning, and then the moon moves into Pisces. And this is turn on my album of the season for my closing credits for Neptune and Pisces is Enigma's 1990 album, which is all Roman numerals. And I know that this became a meme recently. It became a trending audio, but I liked it before it was cool. It's one of my top favorite albums of all time. And so can you tell I have stuff in Pisces? Just listen to the entire album start to finish. And that's our closing credits for Neptune and Pisces. And the moon moving into Pisces signals this transition. It's fascinating that the moon moves into Pisces and basically moves with Neptune into Aries, the moon, activator of the zodiac. So you're going to see what Neptune in Aries means immediately. You're going to get a little something. It's so holy to when the moon just like matches up with a crazy thing going on in the sky. The moon is like pointing. The moon is the activator of the zodiac. It points to, there's all these things going on, but it points the camera, which is funny because the camera is a lens and it illuminates a figure. The moon points the camera. The sun is our spotlight. The moon is the camera and the figure before the camera. So Wednesday is simple and kind of blank. It's your teacher prep day. And Thursday, this happens, you'll wake up on Thursday, and both the moon and Venus will be in Pisces. This is Venus retrograding back into Pisces. So we're through with Venus retrograde in her detriment in Aries. Venus will move back into detriment, back into Aries a little bit later, I think at the end of April. Yeah, very last day of April. But now we get a little bit of relief. And Pisces is a sign of relief. It's not just Venus moving out of detriment. It's Venus moving into her sign of exaltation. She will transit the sign of the exact degree of her exaltation. And she will high five Neptune on the way out of Pisces. So maybe put on the Enigma album on Wednesday. Just lay down and like put on an eye mask. If you don't have one, get one. I can't believe if you didn't obtain an eye mask during Neptune and Pisces, what are you doing? This is your last chance. I also enjoy eye pillows, which is like a little bean bag. I guess you could get like a dolphin beanie baby and put that over your eyes as a whimsical serving suggestion. So Venus moves into Pisces and immediately conjoins Neptune. So this is our second Venus-Neptune conjunction of this Venus retrograde. The first one was on February 7th. That was in Pisces. And the third one will be on May 2nd, and that will be in Aries. So this is a story changing. There's always something changing with a Venus retrograde, but this is reapproaching something in May in a very different way. And it has a lot to say about our future, roughly the next decade and a half. And the moon also squares Jupiter in the middle of the day on Thursday. And then the second half of Thursday is just the moon trining Mars. So Thursday is like you get some relief, you get some optimism. It's maybe a little hard won in a way of like wanting to chill versus like needing to address all the things. And then you get to chill and like move into the moon in Pisces trining fallen Mars and Cancer. Makes me think of Wu Wei, I don't know how to pronounce it. The flow state. It's like how you're chilling and I'm thinking of like anime, like with the things like passing by, like running or like in a car, like Akira or something. You're both chilling and killing it at the same time. Friday is very busy. whatever Tuesday and Wednesday you get to prepare for Friday. And it's like coming down the tracks on Thursday a little bit. The moon conjoins Saturn at, so everything I said about Thursday night, where like you're going. There's also like a little bit of like, this is kind of nice. So Mars has fallen in Cancer. But Mars exalts in Saturn's sign of Scorpio. Did I really just say that? And I want to be taken seriously? Mars exalts in Saturn's sign of Capricorn. And so Mars, the moon trining Mars, and then immediately conjoining Saturn. There's like a little taste of, it's almost kind of helpful, because if it's fallen Mars, it could go a little too far. But if the moon like is forced to like put on the brakes with this like go-go juice, we can prevent ourselves from getting injured, injuring others, taking it a little too far, because it's the moon trining Mars. So it just kind of like happens on its own, and then it puts the brakes on its own. So it lets like, then the energy just like this, any excess Mars energy has the potential of just like evaporating. It has the powers of evaporation after the moon conjoins Saturn in Pisces. So the middle of the day is about this transition. Friday, all of Friday is about how spring is the end of the end, the beginning of the beginning. This transition that we keep bouncing back and forth from Pisces to Aries. The moon passes the various torches that are going back and forth on Friday. Friday is about the entire future and the entire season. And that's because, so the moon in Pisces sextiles Uranus and Taurus. Uranus is about to move into Gemini. So we're pinging this like preparation for our future, from like having a different idea of what money could be, to then like, not only is money different, but everything is money, and your connections with everything, your every single dot connecting is money with Uranus and Gemini. But Uranus is still in Taurus. So the moon in Pisces sextiles Uranus in Taurus. That's more of like the end of the end. And then the moon conjoins Venus in Pisces, even more of like the end of the end. Even as like the end of the end got held up a little bit, and we had to like go back and revisit things. And then the moon conjoins Neptune in Pisces at the very end of Pisces. It's 29 Pisces for both Venus and Neptune, the moon's conjunction with both those things. So, and then the moon moves into Aries, where it will conjoin Mercury, that's also headed back into Pisces, and sextile Pluto in Aquarius. So we're jumping back in time a little bit to Monday, where the moon was in Aquarius, conjoining Pluto and aspecting the stuff in Aries. Now we're in Aries, we're aspecting Pluto, connecting to the very recent past, just a few days ago, and into the distant future to 2044. So on Monday, our activator was in conducting its activations from the point of view of the management, the decentralized management that is covertly centralized. And because Pluto is great, if Pluto is anything, it's great centralized power. Something about, I heard somebody describe trauma really well. It was the lady who does the face rolfing I've been enjoying. So instead of doing gua sha, I've been doing, her name is Anastasia Beauty Fascia. That's her handle. And it's just like very targeted face massage. And since I've worked with a rolfer and I've worked like in this body paradigm, it makes a lot of sense to me that like adjusting the fascia on your chest and doing lymphatic drainage, even like addressing your knees in that way, that will change like how your face looks. Anyway, she mentioned something that really clicked for me. It's like, sometimes I get nervous that I'm not recording. She said that a lot of change happening really rapidly is trauma. And that is what Pluto is. And you get a lot of change happening really rapidly. There's something centralized about it. And all this talk of decentralization, very Aquarian, but Pluto is there. Like, the power is centralized through at least 2044. So that's Friday, the past and the future. Friday is everything. And Saturday we have a solar eclipse in Aries. And this is, everything in Aries right now is, it's in this like first part of Aries, which is like decide, make a decision. You might be forced to make a decision. You might feel forced to make a decision and you don't necessarily have to. That's a big thing about eclipse season, but especially this one is like, you're going to feel the need to make a decision. When we don't make decisions, we get drift. And Pisces is very like the realm of drift. So we're between this place of like, which is the right thing? Is it drift? The end drifts and the beginning decides. And we also have this solar eclipse. So that's a dark moon, but with the nodes. A dark moon configured to the intersections between Earth's relationship with the sun and Earth's relationship with the moon. It is configured to Pluto and Jupiter. And which also makes me think more of like decentralized physical infrastructure networks. There's a change here. It's going to have something to do with like the technological overlords, and I don't really necessarily mean that in a derogatory way. I'd love to be one. I don't think there's anything inherently bad about it, but we are absolutely under the thumb of the technological structures that every piece of information runs through, or just like, it's not every piece of information because there's plenty of information in the non-technological world. You know what I'm saying? Our whole, like everything, you're watching this, so all of the ways that things have become more accessible run through the tech paradigm for now. So this solar eclipse, even if you don't see the change immediately, things that happen during this time are going to herald the change coming in a big way. And that's been happening since around July of 2023. And it also connects back to, so this Venus retrograde through Aries connects back to 2017, like early February, March 2017, what was going on with the Aries part of your life. This Venus retrograde also, I mean, all Venus retrogrades connect back to the previous Venus retrograde, but this is interesting because we're seeing the end of the nodes, which are the calculated points, Earth's relationship with the moon and the sun intersecting. That's how we find out when eclipses are going to happen. The nodes transiting Aries and Libra, this is the end of that. The nodes officially shifted into Pisces and Virgo this past January, and this is the last eclipse. So things that happen now herald great change later in the metaverse with how artificial intelligence is used and blockchain. Blockchain is very Pluto through Saturn signs. It's a little slept on in terms of like what Pluto and Aquarius means. But blockchain is also a foundational way that the global superintelligence, artificial superintelligence, will come into being. So it's like foundational for AI. I lost my train of thought again because I'm all alone. Anyway, big change happens like from April 14th through this day of the solar eclipse. Mercury also changes signs on this day. So there's so much like great beginnings, great endings swirling around this time. And eclipses are considered malefic. The change is coming. So if you're trying to make change, you will be swept up in your own change. And if you aren't trying to make change, it's going to be made anyway. And this connects back to when the nodes moved into Aries and Libra. Venus, I believe Venus was retrograde during that time. It's been so long. It totally was. I don't know why I feel the need. I remember that time very well. I don't know why I feel the need to like look it up, but I'm going to. When did Venus station? Oh, okay. So I guess Venus had not quite stationed yet. The nodes moved into Aries and Libra a little bit before Venus stationed retrograde in 2023. So there is this connection of like your journey from July of 2023 through now. If that was important for you, if you're a Venus ruled person or you were in a Venus ruled year, or this connects back to that time. I'm just rambling at this point. Anyway, I like to look at eclipses or lunations in terms of the past season of where the opposite lunation was. So we had the full moon in Aries this past October of 2024. That was October 17th, 2024. That was not an eclipse. We had another there was an eclipse, a lunar eclipse in Pisces, and then a solar eclipse in Aries last fall. And then the full moon in Aries last fall was not an eclipse, even though the nodes were still in Aries and Libra. And then the next full moon, so look at what energy has been expended during that time and has now it gone, you wring everything out of the washcloth and you put it in the dryer and now it's bone dry. Like every bit of energy and moisture of Jing has been wrung out of it. And we're starting again, truly born again in the sign of Aries. And whatever, there are ways of calculating when the eclipse effects will come into effect, and that's not what I'm doing here. I'm just talking about the lunations. So this coming fall, October 6th, 2025, you'll see a culmination of whatever began right here, right now. You'll see it in your life and in the world. So a lot happening this week, and a lot of like, again, times of eclipse are times of very low energy. Aries is a very high energy place. So it might be like, it's very like, very much like being born again. A feeling of death so you can feel a rebirth later, unless you give up. So the solar eclipse is configured to Jupiter. And this day, Saturday, we get the solar eclipse in the middle of the night. So it's technically Friday is like the night of the moon is waning in an extreme way. And that's the lunar eclipse, depending on where you can see it. Sorry, the solar eclipse. So a lot of the first part of Saturday might feel pretty optimistic, even though there's like weird secrets in the shadows. If you haven't resolved the secret parts of yourself, especially, or the secret parts of how you prove yourself and how you're willing to endure conflict. And Mercury moves back into Pisces. Sorry, there's something confusing me a little bit. Oh, Mercury moves back into Pisces on Saturday evening. And Mercury conjoins Neptune in Pisces also immediately on Saturday evening, because Neptune is about to move into Aries. It's going to happen like in the wee hours or the early morning, depending on where you are in North America. So Saturday is I would say a lot of Saturday is very like low energy and like, whew, it's like you finished a long journey and now you're just like, you've been received into, maybe you're not quite home yet, or like you went on a long journey and you get to be home for a minute. There's a like movie I'm thinking of where I think it's the movie Labyrinth. Yeah, where she like sees all her stuff at home. Excuse me. And just go, that means I need more caffeine. The main character is on this like long journey in a spiritual realm, basically in an other world. And she suddenly finds herself at home, like sitting at her vanity, and all her, like she's surrounded by all her stuff. She's finally home, and that's all she ever wanted was to go home. And then like a weird being like comes up behind her and is like, "Yep, here's all your stuff," and like piles all her past upon her. And she realizes she's not at home at all. She's in this like strange dream of her idea of home, which she finds is like outdated, and she doesn't know if she needs any of that stuff. And that is Saturday. Watch Labyrinth and watch that scene. And late Saturday night, the moon in Aries squares its ruler, Mars in Cancer. So checking in with the boss of everything right now, which is fallen Mars. And soon we'll get, at the beginning of April, we'll get Mars in Leo, trining all the Aries stuff, and that seems much funner. Excuse me. no more coffee. I have a angular moon, so you can just hear everything going on in my stomach and in my throat. And I'm still not gonna edit this. So in the middle of the night, or like when you wake up on Sunday, Neptune will be officially in tropical Aries. And I'm certain something is going to feel different. Or maybe I'm not so certain. The moon is void when Neptune moves into Aries this time. And Neptune's transit of Aries, Neptune will go back into Pisces. So whatever this transit of Neptune in Aries is, could very well be literally a fever dream. That's what I'm going to call this episode. I just decided. The moon is void when Neptune enters Aries. Neptune will be in Aries for 2 seasons. Neptune moves back into Pisces right around the fall equinox. So this transit is between equinoxes. The light will fluctuate to maximum and then it will go back to equal. It will bring things back into equilibrium. And that's something that all of reality wants to do when there's chaos, is bring it back into equilibrium. It's the nature of how God is good or something. Chaos can't last forever. And I don't know if chaos is going to benefit you or not. That's a question. It's up, and it maybe is what you do with it. But it's very interesting that the moon is void when Neptune changes signs. And that Neptune is going to go back when we have another equinox. So we get a season of an interesting version of chaos. And then things go back to like what has been feeling like normal for the past 12 to 13 years. Oh, and I'm talking about Sunday. So in the afternoon, the moon will move into Taurus. And the moon will square Pluto. And Neptune is sextiling Pluto. So something happens. Maybe you feel it more on Sunday. The metaverse is more of a thing, I think, on Sunday. Remember, your Wi-Fi is a camera that can see through walls.